Alright, Terminal World is getting more stuff with Tellarknight support, with a new form of Ptolemy, the Dragon Rank 7, so let's begin. So we start off with Constellar Castor, which is a level 4 light fairy with 700 attack, 600 defense, and the first effect is hard once per turn. That being, if this card is summoned, you can special summon one Constellar monster from your deck except itself, but you are restricted to summoning only lights or darks for the rest of the turn. Well, this is a light-based archetype, but the reason why it says dark is mainly for lore reasons. Now, you can also play a Chaos variant as well because of it, but regardless, this is already pretty good, just being able to summon anything from your deck, thus making your Exceed plays. But a second effect is where a Constellar Exceed monster that has this card as material gets this effect. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or effect, quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from the monster, and if you do, negate that effect. If you do, destroy that card. Yes, it can kind of suck that you're gonna probably detach all your Constellar Exceed monsters materials because of this card, but just having the negate option is always pretty nice, especially when some of them do not need Exceed materials to activate its effects. But regardless, this is a nice additional option. And then we go to Tellarknight Cillian, which is a level 4 light warrior with 1500 attack, 1000 defense. It's also treated as a Constellar card, and the other 3 effects are hard once per turn. First one being, if this card is summoned, you can add 1 Tellar or Constellar light monster from your deck to your hand. On summon, searching is always pretty nice, especially when most of them have special summon type effects, with the second effect where you can target 1 other light monster you control to increase its level by 1, which is always very helpful for this deck considering that you also have rank 5 exceeds. In which the third effect is that this card can be treated as 2 materials for an Exceed summon of a Tellarknight Exceed monster that requires at least 3 materials. A rare effect to be seen considering that not a lot of monsters can be treated as multiple materials for 1 monster, but it's always pretty good since you use 1 less card, and a lot of Tellarknights do require you to have at least 3 monsters for Exceed summon. So overall, another nice new addition for a card being able to manipulate level and also use 1 less card for Exceed summon while also giving you a search on summon as well. And then to the new form of Ptolemy, Tellarknight Constellar Ptolemy Omega 7, which is a rank 7 light machine with 2700 attack and 2700 defense, requires 3 level 7 monsters, and once per turn during the main phase 2, you can also Exceed summon this card by using a Tellar or Constellarknight Exceed monster you control and transfer its materials. Similar to the original form, except that you have to be on main phase 2 to do this, which I personally don't like. But one thing's for sure is that this card is not restricted to using itself as material, meaning that you can overlay itself on top of itself. And it's mainly for the last effect, but we'll go over that later, because the second effect is that while you have at least 7 Tellarknight monsters with different names in your graveyard and or banishment, it gets 2700 attack and defense, and it's also unaffected by your opponent's activate card effects. So basically doubling its base power and defense while also having some protection, which is actually pretty nice if you actually meet those requirements, which for a deck that spams a lot of monsters, you're bound to. With the third effect of once per turn quick effect, you can detach any number of materials from this card, then target the same number equal to your opponent and shuffle them into the deck, which shuffling into the deck is definitely very powerful as they have to search for the resources again. And overall, this is a cool new form of Ptolemy. While it kind of sucks that you have to do this on main phase 2 to basically cheat overlay summon on this, the fact that you can overlay on top of overlaying itself is actually pretty cool, especially to get more materials for the last effect. And also being 5400 attack and defense with some protection is nothing to laugh about. That also has the ability to remove your opponent's board, especially when the original form during the turn it was summoned through the effect, you cannot even use its effect to bounce something back. And then finally, Tellarknight Constellar Deltaros, which is a rank 4 light warrior Exceed monster with 2500 attack and defense, requires at least 3 level 4 monsters, with the first effect of your opponent cannot target rank 5s or higher Tellar or Constellar light Exceed monsters you control with card effects, which is a nice little added protection. It's just too bad it can't protect itself. With the second effect is once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card and add 1 Tellar or Constellar monster from your deck to your hand. Then immediately after this card resolves, you can immediately normal summon 1 light monster. Further searching is always very nice, especially giving you with the normal summon option immediately, with the last effect of if this card is sent to the graveyard except from the field, aka you could even just detach it, you can special summon 1 Tellarknight or Constellar monster from your hand or banishment, which is always a nice little recovery option, or in some cases even just a play extension because you could just use this as material. So overall, pretty decent for just more consistency buff and also some nice protection. And so that's it for the new Tellarknight Constellar support. What do you guys think of it? I mean, considering that it was one of my favorite archetypes back in Terminal World, partially in the Hidden Arsenal sets as well, I was definitely excited, especially since we got a new form of Ptolemy, which is actually not a thing yet. They have not evolved the main boss monster when it was first released, and it took them forever, so this is just pretty awesome to see. But on that, that's it for this, and see you next time.